next one. Oh, talking about something totally different. It says the domain of a rational function. So a rational function is just talking about a fraction. When they're talking about the values that are not in the domain, they're talking about the values that make the fraction undefined. We maybe know that with a fraction, division by 0 is undefined. If you took your calculator and you did 5 divided by 0, what happens?
Well, I'm going to get 0.
You're not going to get 0.
Oh. Math error.
You get a math error. Now if you do 0 divided by 5 the other way around, that's when you get 0.
Yep.
So it's okay to have a 0 on the top of the fraction, but it's not okay to have 0 on the bottom of the fraction. So when they're talking about the domain, they're wanting you to know that the denominator of your fraction can never be equal to 0, because otherwise you'd get a math error. So in this case, our denominator is x squared minus 15x plus 56. Now, because we have a quadratic expression, one of those with the squared term, we have to solve it by factoring because we're going to get 2 answers. So we're going to put our 2 sets of parentheses, and this is why I wanted you to practice your factoring yesterday. We have to factor this out. So we factor the x squared, x times x. We then think about our rules for our signs. If the end is positive, both signs are the same as the middle, so in this case they're both going to be a negative. A negative times a negative still gives me a positive on the end, but adds up to the middle. Then we want the factors of the end number that when we plug them in, they add up to the middle number. So what times what gives me 56?
2 and 28.
Now does 2 and 28 add up to 15?
No.
Nope, so that's not the pair we want. We got to find a different pair.
Oh, 9. I got 9. Nope. You probably look at that and can come up with it, huh? 8 and 7.
8 and 7. 8 and 7 add up to 15, right? So we think about foiling. X times x is x squared. My outside is negative 7 plus my inside is negative 8. That adds up to the negative 15. And then negative 8 times negative 7, positive 56. So, since we have this does not equal 0, then we have to solve each of these. X minus 8 can't equal 0. And x minus 7 can't equal 0. And when we solve those, all we're doing is moving our number to the opposite side, so that's going to change the signs, right? Here I'm going to add my 8. 8 minus 8 would give me 0. And here I'm going to add my 7. 7 minus 7 would give me 0.
Oh boy, that's crazy.
So, it tells me find the values that are not in the domain. So when you enter it in, I believe it has this. What values is it equal to that are not in the domain? Well, these two are the ones not in the domain, 8 and 7. So you maybe didn't get far enough in your factoring stuff where you did the ones that said equal to 0, but hey, it'll be good practice for when you get there. Jane should have done something like that with you last week. So, function g is defined below. Find the values that are not in the domain of g. If there's more than one value, separate them with a comma. So again, we go back to the fact that the denominator of my fraction can't equal 0. What's in the denominator? What part of that is my denominator?
Oh, the x squared plus 2x minus 3.
So x squared plus 2x minus 3 can't be 0. And again, we have the squared term in, so we know it came from foiling something out. And so factors of x squared,
X and x.
x and x. My
And
signs.
negative sign, so we want a positive and a negative?
Yep. And we want the pair of factors of 3 that when we plug them in and add them up, They add up to positive 2. Well, there's only one choice for 3.
So it's gotta be -3 and 1 in the first one, right?
Now, which way does it go to get a positive 2?
Oh,
Which one has to be positive?
The first one has to be, the 3.
The 3. A positive 3 minus a 1 gives me the positive 2 in the middle.
Okay.
So if this is a positive, then the bigger number's going to be positive when you don't have any numbers in front of your x squared. So again, if x plus 3 can't equal 0 and x minus 1 can't equal 0, we got to solve those for x. So on the first one, we're going to
Minus the 3.
minus the 3.
And we're gonna get a -3.
Mm-hmm. And on the second
And we're
one,
gonna no, we're gonna add the 1.
add the 1.
So we got x equals -3 and 1.
Negative 3 and 1 are the two values that are not in my domain. I get 0 on the bottom, which is undefined in math. So number 9,
X squared minus 14x plus 49.
can't be equal to 0.
Factor x and x, the positive sign at the, so both are negative.
Mhm.
And then we got 7 and 7 that equal.
So in this case, we're going to get the same answer twice. It's happened to be called a double root, but when we do it, we really only have to do it one time because it's going to be the same number, right? What is our answer going to be?
0. We're going to have a positive 7.
So x equals 7. That's the only number that when I plug it in will give me a math error.